the audio didn't record for. So I'm redoing them now so that they are not silent films. What we're going to work with today and explore is the positioning of the rib cage, shoulder girdle, and spine, and breathing. And then a little bit of work with the shoulders. A lot of times what happens is when there isn't adequate rebound or aliveness through the legs, the upper body solely has to rely on muscular contraction in order to have the arms act like limbs. And often that leads to tight shoulders, stiff, sore necks, and a large degree of tension either in the scalene, the muscles of the neck, and or in the back of the skull, the occiput, like when you bring your hand back, the low kind of point of the skull where it starts to come out from the neck. And so this exploration is really great for improving the relationship of the rib cage and spine, shoulder girdle, skull, and getting a bit more harmony or coordination between the movements of the shoulder blades, the scapula, and the arms. Okay, so we did a supine, laying on our back breathing exploration, where we used the Courgeous ball. We could do that with this breathing exploration as the same, whatever sort of deflated or water bottle prop that you used in the supine breathing exploration. But I'm also going to show it using a rolled yoga mat, because I'm assuming that most all of you will have a rolled yoga mat. So this could be used in substitution for a slightly deflated Courgeous or bender ball in the supine breathing exploration too. You could use the yoga mat. So what we're going to do is, you'll determine how rolled. My mat's not too thick, so I can have it be rolled all the way. Some people will find that if they have a thicker, more Pilates style mat, it'll be too thick rolled up. So you also could use a towel, a bath or beach towel. So it's rolled, and I'm going to bring it underneath, just below my collarbones, and lay down. My forehead is resting on the floor, and then my arms are coming down alongside me. And I'm actually going to just adjust how this is rolled, because it's a little too flat for me. There we go. So again, it's coming down just below the collarbones. I'm going to have my palms up to the ceiling and rest my forehead on the floor. So when you lay down, just notice the orientation of the legs and the feet, what naturally occurs for you. Notice the belly. Notice the weight of the ribs and the shoulders on the rolled mat or whatever prop you're using. And then when you bring your arms alongside the body and go palm up, notice what happens in your shoulders. So some of you might find that it feels like the shoulders kind of fall up to the base of the skull. And if that's the case, you may want to reposition and have the arms here for that exploration. So with the elbows kind of adjacent the ears and the palms on the floor.
That, and or you could get some pillows and just prop the shoulders and the arms on a pillow or towel, because we don't want the shoulder girdle to kind of fall off the rib cage. And just notice how the neck feels. And then just start to watch your breath. Don't change anything, just notice where you feel the rise and fall of the inhale and the exhale. Now what I want you to get really curious about is how much is the belly moving? How much is the breastbone moving? How much are the shoulder blades moving? And as you notice those locations in the movement of breath, if the belly is moving a lot more than the breastbone and or the shoulder blades, I want you to just bring some attention to the breath that is, and see if you can even out the relationship of belly, breastbone, shoulder blades as you breathe. So we're not making the breath any deeper. You're just taking the breath that is and allocating it a third, and a third. And really noticing the rise and fall of the breath. Breastbone and shoulder blades. So I encourage you to stay here with the attention on the breath, that third belly, a third breastbone, a third between the shoulder blades, for 20 breaths or 3 to 5 minutes. And then we're just going to change the arm position so that the arms come up alongside the body with the ears adjacent, or the elbows adjacent to the ears,
and the palms on the floor. And with what we're about to explore next, it's some movement of the shoulder blade relative to the arm. And as some of you explore this, you're going to notice that the shoulder blades, either you don't have a sense of or an ability to feel them very well, and or that they're not moving. And if that's the case, I've linked to another video in this video's notes, which takes you through a movement and a release using a tennis ball and or these yoga tune-up balls, so that you bring some awareness to the scapula and the shoulder blades and the relationship of them to the rib cage and the arm. And then I'd invite you to come back down and do this exploration. So if during this one you're noticing, man, I have no sense of the shape or the whereabouts of my shoulder blades, you'll want to go to that video that I link and do it, and then come back and revisit this. Okay, so we're down on the floor, elbows out to the side, forehead's going to come down on the floor. Now I want you to think about sort of one hand is at 12, 3, the head's at 6, 9 o'clock, and 12 o'clock. So we're kind of making a clock face.
and the forehead's on the floor. And then what you're going to explore doing is with your right arm, that elbow that's at 3 o'clock, wrist that's at 12, you're going to find some friction on the floor and start to move the elbow out, up, and around, bringing the shoulder blade with it into some upward rotation. Upward rotation is that bottom tip of the shoulder blade. As that arm moves, it's tracking around outside towards the armpit. Okay? So whatever amount of kind of connection with the floor that you need to use with the elbow and wrist to feel the shoulder blade starting to upwardly rotate and protract. And protract simply means it's moving away from the spine. So you'll have this sense of the scapula, the bottom tip, kind of doing this partial C movement. The friction of the floor is going to help connect the arm to that blade and help you feel that blade moving around the cylinder of the rib cage. So some people need to have the elbow kind of go out and up more. Some people are going to find up and around in as a better kind of tracking of the elbow. So you're just going to need to play a little bit to find what amount of friction and directional intention and movement with that elbow and wrist helps you connect with the movement of the shoulder blade best. So once you've done 5 to 8 on the right, just pause. Take a moment, notice any changes in the neck, the breathing on that side of the rib cage, the weight of the arm on the floor between the right side and the left side of the body. You might even notice a difference in the weight of the left and the right side of the pelvis, having done that one side. And then you're going to become aware of the left elbow and palm. And again, using the friction in the floor, you're going to find that sweet spot, that just enough place to connect to that upward rotation and protraction of the bottom tip of the scapula. And again, directionally, the elbow might be moving up and inwards more. For other people, it might be out and upward. That helps you connect to the shoulder blade more. And you might notice that the amount of friction required on this side, a directional intention, is different than the other side. Good, so 5 to 8 on that side. And then we're going to put both arms together. So we're going to protract and upwardly rotate. At the same time, we're going to bring the skull into cervical extension. So when the skull comes up, and relax all the way down. I want you to become aware of where your cheekbones are. And it's the sense of the cheekbones rolling up towards the seam of the wall and the ceiling. And that the eyes are going for a ride in the skull. So I don't want the eyes to be what moves the skull. I want the skull to move the eyes. And thinking in terms of the cheekbone. Or maybe the back of the skull, thinking of it moving towards the back of the neck. Good. So a few just straight up the wall. Now on this one, I'm going to take my gaze to the left. And then relax all the way down. And then this one, I'm going to take my gaze to the right of where I had been looking. And I'm going to do that right side one more time. Good. And then release. Now, I invite you, once you're done, to again come up to standing.
Notice what you notice in standing in terms of sort of how much weight is in your feet and your legs, and how your upper body feels having done that exploration. I look forward to hearing what you discover, what insights you have about the relationships of your rib cage, spine, shoulder blades, and arms as you explore and play with that movement. Thanks so much.